Here we go. So, hello. We're gonna use probably blocks, or you can use the usual books that you usually use, the lexicons or dictionaries. You might also need a strap. I have this fitness band. These are quite good as well. And I think this is it. Or maybe a blanket or a pillow, just in case. And then we're going to start in child's pose. So bring the feet together, open the knees, and then hold the hands forward and relax the chest. You go for it. I'm just going to talk you through it a little bit. So nice and comfortable. If the head is not touching the floor, place something underneath, maybe a book block or maybe a cushion, and then reach the arms forward. Really letting the body relaxing. So like I said, we're going to do some strengthening work, but I will give you modifications even for those exercises. And if you just want to sit it down, you're always welcome to do so. And then we're going to do quite a few stretches as well. But for now, just relaxing the forehead, your arms, the shoulders, the hips. On the next exhale, close the eyes. And then keep focusing on the out breath. Try to make the out breath longer than the inhale. This will help you to relax, to slow down. And then on each exhalation, start to relax the body deeper into the floor. So letting go of the hands, your arms, your shoulders. Let the head, forehead sink into the floor. The back of the neck relaxes. Your trunk, your hips. Let the thighs melt, the knees, the shin bones and the calves, and the feet. So feel the whole of the body resting, relaxing on the floor. And on each exhale, you sink deeper and deeper. Another breath here. And then start to move the fingertips towards the top of the mat. So keep the forehead, keep the hips as they are, and then hold the fingers forward until your elbows and wrists are away from the floor. And you can really feel that nice stretch around the shoulders. Really push the hips towards the ears. Fingertips walk a little bit further forward. And then from here, start to walk the hands towards the left side. You might have to move the head as well. So don't be shy. Go, twist as much as you turn and lean towards your left as much as you can. Walking the right hand towards the left. But you're still on the fingertips. And then once you got into the edge, got into the place where you feel the stretch along the right side of the body, just release the head. And then from here, bring the left arm right next to the body and move the right fingers a little bit more to the left. Now you can stay here if you like, but you can also place your left hand onto the sacrum, so the bottom of the spine, just above your bum in the center, and then push the hips down towards the heel. Your right hand stays on the left side. And just notice how you can exaggerate that stretch on the right side by placing the hand onto the sacrum and pushing down through it. Start to breathe into the stretch. Breathe into that area around the ribs, around the maybe the lower back, armpit. Now bring the left hand to the right, then slowly walk back to center. Hold it there for a second, just relaxing, releasing the arms. And then lift your palms, move the fingertips again to the top of the mat until you find the stretch in the shoulders and the side of the body. And then from here, start to walk the hands to the right side. Again, you might have to lift the head and then move it to the right as well. But don't be shy, go as far to the right as your body allows you to. And then once you got into the edge of of this posture for you, then you're gonna release the head and then bring the right arm beside you onto the floor. And then maybe walk the left hand a little bit more to the right side, just to exaggerate that stretch on the left side of the body. And if you did on the other side, you can place your hand, the right hand, onto the hip, the back of the hip, the sacrum, and then push down. And then breathe. Breathe into the left side of the body. Breathe into that stretch. Where do you feel? It might be somewhere around the legs, around the underarm, maybe around the ribs, maybe a little bit lower. And then bring the right hand to the left. Walk the arms back to center. Again, make them heavy. Forehead heavy, resting on the floor. And then slowly make your way into a tabletop position. So, as usual, wrists under the shoulders. Separate the fingers, index fingers pointing to the front, knees under the hips. And then we're going to continue with some cat and cow, just to move the spine a little bit. So on the inhale, we're going to arch, shoulders back. And then we are going to just move the chest bone in between the arms to the front. Exhale around the back, tuck the chin to the chest, look at the belly button. And then repeat, inhale to arch, looking to the front or to the sky if it feels good in your neck. And then exhale, round, lift the shoulder blades, squeeze the belly, squeeze the ribs. One more. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. And then we come back into neutral spine position. Bring the knees together. A little bit of a flow. We take an inhale and reach the right leg back. Now, if it feels good, you can also reach the leg up. So not just back, but up. Then exhale, hug the knee into the chest. Round the back like your every head pose. Then inhale, reach back. And then on the exhale, place the foot to the left side and look towards it, stretching the right side of the body. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest. Inhale behind you. I'm just going to turn around just so you can see me. The right leg is back. And then on the exhale, bring the right knee towards the right and look to it. If this is comfortable, you stay here. You can also do it with straight knee. And then inhale back behind you. I'm going to go back. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale behind you and maybe up. And then exhale to the left, look towards the foot. Inhale behind you. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale behind you. Exhale to the right, knee or straight leg. Look to it. And then inhale behind you. Exhale, hug it in. One more. Inhale behind you. Exhale to the left, look towards it. Inhale behind you. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale, send it back. Exhale to the right, look to the knee. Inhale back. And then exhale, release. And you can just move it out. Shoulders and hips. You can shake out the head as well. And then we take it into the other side. So knees together. And then this time, left leg reaches back. Inhale. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale behind you. And then step the foot to the right, look towards it. Inhale behind you. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale behind you. Exhale to the left, straightly or bend, doesn't matter. Inhale behind you. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale, stretch it back. Exhale to the right. Inhale behind you. Hug it in on the out breath. Inhale behind you. Exhale to the left. Inhale behind you. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale behind you. Exhale to your right. And then inhale back. And exhale, release. Move it out again. Excellent. And then sit back onto your heels. Bring the hands together and just roll the hands one direction. Just to loosen up the wrist. We're going to do a little bit of wrist work now. And then the other side. So already we put some weight onto the wrist when we were in tabletop position. And then we're going to put a little bit more weight onto the hands, wrist. Bring the hands beside you, maybe right next to the knees. And then start to lean into them and gently rock from side to side, swaying from side to side. So bringing more and more weight into the wrist. And then very slowly we start to walk the fingers out. First to 11 and 1 o'clock. And you keep swaying from side to side. And then 2 and 10 o'clock. Slowly take your time. And as you're going and swaying and moving the fingers, you can also start to lift your shoulder blades. So you're like in an angry cat pose instead of collapsing into your shoulders. The fingers are now nearly facing down to 6 o'clock. Keep swaying from side to side. Keep hugging the ribs in. Squeezing the belly, lifting through the shoulder blades. And then slowly bring the fingers back towards the front. Nice and slowly, no rush. And if you want to play with it, then you can start to lift the knees as well. So more and more weight into the wrist. Excellent. Okay, sitting back up. This time you're going to place the hands onto the floor with the fingers facing towards us. And make sure that the fingers are not too spread, not too wide. You can bring them a little bit closer to each other. You're like you're in a tabletop with the fingers towards your knees. And then very slowly start to lean back. But try not to lift the edges of the palms away from the floor. You just notice how far back can you sit until you get that very deep stretch at the inside of the arms. You might feel it around the elbows, the inside of the elbows as well, and then hold it there. And then use the breath to let go of any discomfort. So maybe a sigh or a moan. And then maybe you can sit back a little bit more. Remember to keep the edges of the palms on the floor. One more breath. And release. Shake out the hands. And the last practice, the last exercise here. So you're going to make a fist with your hand. Yeah, the thumb is just on the top of the fingers. And then take hold with the other palm. You take hold of the back of the hand. And you start to guide the fingers towards the inside of the wrist. Your elbow is straight. So this time stretching out the back of the wrist. Keep the hand, that right hand in a fist. The other hand helps that fist to stay as a fist. And at the same time, pulling it towards the inner wrist. Keeping the elbow straight, very slowly. Guiding the fingers towards the wrist. Pay attention to your breath, slow it down. Okay, and then the other side, you can move that right wrist. So left hand in a fist, right hand goes to the back of the hand, and then start to guide the fingers towards the inner wrist, or whatever you call it in English, inside of the wrist. But either way, you want to have that stretch in the back of the hand, back of the wrist. Keep the elbow straight as you can. And just keep drawing the fingers, the wrist, towards the inside of the wrist, the inside of the arm. Yeah, there are some body parts that probably don't even have a name in any languages, so you have to make up as we go during the practice. Probably some of the names that I call them are hilarious, but anyways, I hope you know what you're doing. As long as you get the stretch in the back of the hand, you're doing the right thing. Okay, release, move them out, and we come back into tabletop. Spread the fingers, curl the toes under, and from here we make our way into downward facing dog. And then in down dog, start to walk it out, start to bring some movement into your down dog. Ears can sway from side to side. You can shake the head if you like. You can also circle with the shoulders and the hips. We're pressing down through the knuckles and the fingertips. And then slowly coming into a stationary pose. So your bum is reaching high to the sky. Your heels are reaching down to the floor. And even though they don't touch the floor, you keep pushing them towards the ground. If you feel you're restricted in the back of the body, then you can soften the knees. Bring the chest and the armpits towards the thighs. Take a big breath in, keep the chest close to the thighs, and lift the heels up towards the sky. Then on the exhale, push the heels back down to the floor. And then again, inhale, heels to the sky, chest stays close to the thighs. And then exhale, heels down to the ground. One more time. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, push down deep. Look to the front. And then walk the feet to the top of the mat. Right with a forward bend, with the knees soft, opposite hand onto opposite elbow, relax the head. And you can sway from side to side. Now bring your upper arms in line with your ears, keep the hands on the opposite elbow, and on the next inhale, come into a halfway lift. So keeping the arms high in line with your ears, you're looking down, your elbows are laterally to the top of the earth, to the front. Take another inhale, and then exhale, slowly fall down. 2 more. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice long spine, and your elbows are reaching to the front as well. Exhale and release. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift, looking down to the floor. Exhale and fall down. Release the arms, and very slowly roll yourself up. Excellent. And then we are going to continue with some sun salutations to get some heat, even more heat. Bring the hands into prayer, roll the shoulders down, shoulder blades slightly towards one another, squeeze the thighs, and lengthen to the crown of the head. On the next inhale, reach the arms to the sky. You can arch back if it feels good. On the exhale, soften the knees, fold forward. Hands against the shins or the thighs. Inhale for halfway lift. Then step the right knee back into a low lunge and exhale. Inhale, arms to the sky, gently arching back. Hands to the floor, tabletop, downward facing dog. Inhale, move into your high plank pose. Shoulders over the wrist, walk the feet back, squeeze the belly, squeeze the glutes. Then drop the knees and very slowly lower down to the ground. Press down to the tops of the feet, to the pubic bone, hands underneath the shoulders, maybe a little bit wider than the shoulders. Then inhale, come up into an easy cobra. So not too high, which means that you're actually pushing yourself into this mobility, into this flexibility. Instead, press down to the belly and lift the chest,
with the strength of the back of the body. So your hands are just lightly touching the floor. Take another inhale, and then exhale and fold. Hands underneath the shoulders. Push back, tabletop. And from here, downward facing dog. Bring the feet together in the back of the mat. Reach your right leg back and maybe up to the sky. Then step the foot between the hands and drop the back knee down. Raise the arms, look up, a little arch here. Hands to the floor. Step forward, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Let it go. Inhale and rise, look up, maybe arch. Hands into prayer. We go left side, nice and slow again. Inhale, arms to the sky. Reach them back while you're arching. And then hands into prayer, lower down. Inhale, halfway lift. Step your left knee back into low lunge. Inhale, rise, arms to the sky, arch. Hands to the floor, tabletop, or straight away into downward facing dog. Inhale for high plank, shoulders over the wrists, squeeze the body. Drop the knees, lower down to the ground. Hands underneath the shoulders, feet pressing down, pubic bone as well. Inhale, a little easy cobra. Again, hands lightly touching the floor, squeezing the belly down. And then back into tabletop, downward facing dog. Reach the left leg to the sky, step it to the front. Back knee down, arms to the sky, arch back, look up. Hands to the floor, step forward, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift, fall down. Inhale and rise, look up, arch. Hands into prayer. We do one more, and we are going to do, I'm going to do it with high lunges. So instead of knees on the floor in low lunges, we're going to do it in high lunges. You're welcome to drop the knee to the floor though, just to have a little bit more momentum, a little bit more heat. So starting, hands in prayer, looking to the front. On the next inhale, raise the arms to the sky, look up and arch. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Step the right foot back. You can drop the knee if you like. Bend the front knee. And then inhale, rise. So back heel is away from the floor. Soften the back knee. Reach the arms to the sky. Take a breath in. And then on the exhale, arch back. So you're looking like a C shape, a banana pose. Then place the hands to the floor. Tabletop. Or coming into down dog straight away. Your choice. Inhale for high plank. Exhale, lower down. Hands in line with your ribs. Inhale for cobra, maybe a little bit higher than usually. You can keep the elbows bent, roll the shoulders back, pop the chest to the front. You can come into upward facing dog if you like, so lifting the knees and the thighs away from the floor. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog. Raise the right leg up. Step it to the front. Keep the back knee away from the ground, unless you don't. And then rise. Soften the back knee, nice and buoyant here. Inhale, fingertips high, and then arching back. Pull the arm back as well. Lift the pubic bone high. And then hands to the floor. Step forward, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Fall down. Inhale and rise. Hands into prayer. Left, same. Inhale, arms to the sky, arch back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, flat back. Step the left foot back, high lunge. Arms to the sky. And then arch back, soft knee. Tuck the tailbone under, lift the pubic bone high. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Inhale, high plank. Drop the knees lower down or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Squeeze the legs and the glutes. Downward facing dog. Left leg to the sky, big breath in. Step it to the front, breath out. Raise the arms, high lunge or drop the knee down. And when you're ready, arch back. So tucking the tailbone under, lifting the pubic bone up towards the ribs. Then hands to the floor. Step forward, forward bend. Hold it here for a moment. Inhale, halfway lift. Fall down. Inhale and rise. Hands into prayer. And just close the eyes for a moment. Notice the difference. I mean, I can feel the difference straight away in my solar plexus and in my heart. In my solar plexus, a lot of heat. In my heart, I can hear my heart pumping. And then notice your breath as well. So just compare it quickly with the breath that you took when you were lying down in your child's pose. Nice, long, relaxed, and now a little bit shorter and faster. Okay, and we're going to start our strengthening sequence. So staying at the top of the mat, I'm going to turn around so you can see. You can keep the hands in prayer or bring the hands onto the hips. This is balancing, and from balancing, we're going to move back into standing poses. Take the weight into the left side and pick up the right knee. And just hold it here for a moment. Finding the foot on the floor and finding the standing leg. So really squeeze. If you're wobbly, you soften the standing knee. Then you're going to place the ankle over the thigh, just above the knee, not touching the kneecap, and draw the knee down. You can stay here. Otherwise, you can bend the knee and lower. Lower until it's uncomfortable, and then lower a little bit more. And then you might be wobbling. Now here, you can use the blocks under the hands if you like. Or you can bring the hands into prayer. So the knee is pushing down, your standing leg is bent, and the standing leg is strong. The right foot is flexed. You can use the blocks under the hands to stay balanced. We hold it here for another breath. And then slowly straightening the standing leg, coming up. Hug the knee into the chest. Draw the knee out. Bring the hands behind the head. Take an inhale. And then on the exhale, reach your right elbow towards the right knee. You can lift the right knee as well. One more breath. Back up. Knee to center. I'm just going to turn back to the front. Hands come into prayer. Keep the knee high and then very slowly reach it back into your warrior three. Now the knees can stay soft. You can be buoyant and it helps you to find balance. If you're very, very balanced, you can straighten the knees. You can use the wall next to you like I am doing it now. And you can lift the leg as high as you can. Try not to collapse. You can still use the blocks underneath your hands to stay supported. Take one more breath. And now soften the standing leg. And then slowly, softly step back into your crescent lunge. Which is basically a high lunge. Hands onto the hips. Okay, and now we're going to use the right thigh and work the right and the left thigh now. So all we do is the front knee stays as it is. Your hands can stay on the hips. You can also reach the arms up. We take an inhale and then on the exhale, bend that right knee and then bring it about an inch away from the floor. With your elbows, you can hug towards the waist. Inhale, reach up, back knee straight. Exhale, bending the right knee, elbows to the hips. Yes, hips. Inhale, up, straight back knee. Exhale, bend, elbows to the waist. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Two more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. One more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Hold it here. Squeeze the two thighs towards one another. Tuck the tailbone under. Squeeze the lower belly. And then inhale, rise. and drop the back heel down to the floor. Arriving in warrior two. Once again, I'm just going to turn around so you can see me. So bend the front knee and the back knee straight. The 2 feet are aligned with one another. You're going to reach the arms away from you. Make sure that the 2 arms are aligned with one another as well. Then straighten the front knee. Ooh, this was good. This was good. And then start to squeeze the thighs up towards the hip bone. Push your hips back. Reach to the front through the left fingers. And then slowly come into triangle, placing the left hand onto the left shin. Lightly, because you're zipping up around the core. So this is where you're holding the pose and holding yourself high, not collapsing. Reach high through the right fingers and then look up. Squeeze the belly and tuck the tailbone under. So if someone is standing behind you, they can't see anything sticking out. Your bum, your chest, you're like one line, 2-dimensional. Looking up. One more breath. And slowly coming up. Bend the front knee again, side angle. Place your right forearm onto the thigh. And then you're going to circle a couple of times with the right arm. So down and then up behind you. Down, forward, up, behind you. One more time. And then we're going to keep it extending to the front. And straight line between your fingers and the back heel. And you can stay here, or you can extend the lower arm to the front, like you would be holding a beach ball. Make sure that your chest is open, so look under the right armpit. One more breath. Forearm to the side. Look down, hands on either side of the front foot. And you're going to step back into tabletop, and we sit back into child's pose. So releasing the hips towards the heels, arms reaching forward. Back into tabletop. Now for the next pose, we're going to do basically down dog push-ups. I call them down dog push-ups. You can choose to keep the knees on the floor. I'm going to demonstrate down dog push-ups first, and I'm going to show you how to do the modification as well. So for down dog push-ups, you come into downward facing dog. Maybe bring the hands a little bit wider. If you have a block, you can place the block or the book in between the hands. And this is going to be something that you will be using when you're coming close to the floor with your head for your push-up. So you take an inhale, and then on the exhale, bring the body forward and the forehead down towards the block, and then push back. So push up and then back. So your body basically, like it draws a curve forward and then slowly down. So let's do 5 of this. I'm going to show one more time, and then I'll show you the different variation. So you bring the shoulders forward, bend the elbows, forehead to the block, and then up and back into down dog. For the modification, knees to the floor. And then you push the heels back, hips back, come forward, and then bend the elbows, forehead to the block, push up, and then sitting back. So a little bit easier this one. You're gonna do 5 for both, not for both, for one that you choose. And if you wanna alternate, that's fine as well. I'll be doing the down dog version. So starting, coming forward and then down, and then slowly push back up. Keep your elbows hugging towards the center line. Coming forward and then down, and then push back up. 3 more. Slowly, roll the shoulders down towards the hips. Don't hug them into the ears. 2 more. And the last one. And we rest in child's pose again. Move the block away. Arms to the front, forehead to the ground. Give yourself a couple of breaths. And then sit up. And then fold up your mat. We're gonna kneel on the mat. One more for the thighs. You can keep your hands on the hips. You can reach your arms forward. Now, make the glutes and the thighs active. So the body from the shoulders down to the knees is like one plank, really stiff. I'm going to do it with my arms to the front. Tailbone down, tucking down and curling the pubic bone up. You're squeezing the lower glutes. You take an inhale, slowly leaning back. And then on the exhale, slowly coming back up. 6 more. Inhale back. Squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes. Coming back. Don't arch in the lower back. Inhale back. Exhale to the front. And then 3, 2, 1. And then back into downward facing dog. Remember, if you need a break, you hold it in your child's pose or tabletop. Push your hips back, chest towards the thighs, relax the head. Take a big breath in. And then open the mouth. Look to the front. Walk your feet between the hands. Arriving in a forward bend, soften the knees, opposite elbow to opposite elbow, relax the head. You can sway from side to side if you like. And then let go of the arms and very slowly rise. Whew. Okay, we have the left side to do. I'm again just going to walk here so you can see me from this side. So, starting with feet about hip width apart. You can have the hands in prayer or hands onto the hips. Take the weight into the right side and then lift the knee. Place your left ankle onto the side just above the knee and then draw the knee out and down. And start to bend the standing leg slowly. Maybe bringing the hands in prayer. Maybe using the blocks as a support underneath the hands. And maybe going a little bit lower. Hold it here. Focus on the standing leg, focus on the foot on the floor, especially the toes, they will help you balance. And slowly straighten the knee, lift the chest. And then bring the knee into the chest. Take a big breath in. Oops, a little bit wobbly today. And then slowly send it back into warrior 3. Remember the knee. So the standing leg is always soft. The knee, if you find that you can't find balance, then you're wobbling. If you're very, very stable, you straighten. Take one more breath. And then slowly, softly stand back into coming into your high lunge. Front knee stays over the ankle. And the back knee is soft. Arms to the sky. Take a big breath in. You know what's coming. It's the legs now. And then on the exhale, bend your elbows, bend the back knee, lower down about an inch away from the floor. Inhale and rise. Exhale, lower down. In breath. Out breath. 3 more. In. And then out. Inhale. And then exhale. I think we have one more, right? Inhale. And then exhale. Anyway, we had one more. Hold it here. And then rise. Drop the back heel down, coming into warrior 2. Once again, 2 feet in one line. Front knee over the ankle. Arms reaching away from you. And then straighten the front knee. Oh, that happens and I get tired. I can't speak anymore. Push the hips back and then reach the right arm forward and then place the hand onto the shin lightly. So you're zipping up to the core, to the pelvic floor. This is your powerhouse. And then reach the left arm to the sky. Squeeze the thighs, lift them up towards the hips. And I find if I have my toes down on the ground, I can't, for some reason, activate my thighs. So maybe try, leave the 10 toes away from the floor. Can you feel the thighs a little bit more? Then open the chest more to the sky. And then look down, soften the knee, and come back up, warrior two. Side angle, right forearm onto the right side, and we circle with the arm. So down to the front, to the sky, and behind us. Nice big motions. Down to the front, up and behind us. One more. To the front, to the sky, behind you and down. And from here, we're gonna extend the arm to the front. Fingers reaching up. Back here, pushing down. Hold it here, or extend the right arm to the front as well. Open the chest towards the ceiling, maybe looking under the armpit. Keep the front knee bent. One more breath. And then slowly come up. Look down to the floor. Hands on either side of the front foot. And we step back into downward facing dog. Drop the knees. Get your block. So we're gonna do the down dog push-ups. If you wanna do the tabletop push-ups, excellent. If you wanna sit it up, you can just lie in child's pose, or you stay in your downward facing dog, which is just a strengthening for the arms. And just notice your alignment and focus on the breath. Anyway, if you're with me, place the flat block. You can use a tall block as well, not the tallest size, because then you're just going to smash your head into it. And then hands around it, maybe a little bit wider than usual. In your down dog, make it into your down dog. So, on the inhale, we prepare. And then on the exhale, we push up. Inhale. And exhale. Excellent. Few more. Keep your elbows hugging in towards the center line of the mat. That will help you to protect your wrist and your shoulders. Let's do another two. Last one, maybe a little bit lower than last time. And then come back up, drop the knees to the floor. Move the block away. And then we're not gonna work on the thighs anymore. We are going to do 2 camel postures, which is basically opening up the front of the body. So it's gonna feel nice and stretchy in the thighs. Creating that padding underneath the knees, and the knees are hip width apart. You can have the toes uncurled or curling under, it's up to you. Hands against the sacrum, again find the bottom of your spine. Maybe the thumbs pushing into it, maybe it's the edges of the palms, whatever feels right. Bring the elbows together, shoulder blades together, this helps you pop the chest. Lift the chest, lift the ribs, and then push the hips forward, squeeze the belly in and arch back. So don't worry about what's happening in the lower back, how much you're arching. Instead, try to curve from the upper back in between the shoulder blades. And then bring the elbows closer to each other. Lift the heart. Arch back. Maybe your head releases back only if it feels good. And then slowly come up. Last thing to come up is the chin to the chest, sitting back. Hold it here, or a quick child's pose. We're gonna do one more, and I'm going to show you a different variation, which is with the hands against the heels. But if you don't fancy doing something new, you come into the position the same way that we did. So kneeling, hands against the hips, and then pushing the hips forward, arching back. Otherwise, you can bring the hands against the heels. So this is going to be the other way around. When you're going to come up into your camel pose, you can have the toes uncurling, but if you feel a little bit unsure about how much flexibility you have in the lower back, you can curl the toes under, and then you don't need to come up as high. I'm going to go that variation. So hands against the heels. You're gonna lift the butt, push the hips forward, press down through the heels, through the hands, and then lift the chest bone to the sky. And we're just gonna hold it here. And the other peeps who have their hands against the sacrum, hold it for another 2 breaths. Hips to the front, chest to the sky. And then slowly sitting back down. And now we will take a child's pose. And then tabletop, and make your way into a seated position, facing to me. And then here, you might need your strap or your shawl. So bending the right knee, place the right knee to the floor. It doesn't matter where the heel is, whether it's close to the pelvic floor, it isn't. Make sure it's comfortable for your knee. Now my knee is quite high. It's just levitating there, so I like to place a block underneath for a little support. Bring the strap around the ball of the foot. If you're not using strap, then don't do that. Lengthen through the spine, take an inhale, and then on the exhale, start to hug the chest close to the thigh. You can walk the hands closer and closer towards the foot if this is something you'd like to do. But keep the shoulders down, the elbows in, and instead of leading with your chin, lead with your heart. Shoulders down, elbows in, hug the chest towards the foot, towards the thigh. You can tuck the chin to the chest, so the crown of the head is aiming towards the front as well. And then slowly lift yourself up. Bring the knee to center, step the foot to the left side. And then bring the right hand behind you, left hand around the knee, maybe rest on the thigh. Take an inhale, lengthen through the sky, lengthen to the crown of the head. And then on the exhalation, start to twist towards the right, looking over the right shoulder. And slowly come back to center. Just twist to the other side just for a moment. And then back to center. Now drop the knee to the floor. But keep your ankle over the side, just above the knee. Bring the hands behind you. Your fingers can face to the side, to the back, or to the front, doesn't matter. And then lift your left knee away. Place the foot, the sole of the foot onto the ground. Activate and flex the right foot. So the right knee is going to move away from you. And you can walk that left heel closer to you as you're walking the hands closer to you. You're going to feel a deep stretch on the right hip. If this is too much, you walk the foot and the hands away from the butt. So notice how much you have to come close to your hips in order to get the appropriate stretch. It's totally subjective. So you will, well, you can't look around to have a look at your neighbor on the mat. But just trust me on this. Everyone looks differently on this in this pose. So flexing the right foot, right knee pushes away from the chest. You might want to open the heart a little bit more, squeeze the shoulder blades, keep the spine long. One more breath. And then straighten the left knee, right knee. Give them a little shake, the legs. And then we take the other side. I'm going to start facing you again. So right leg extends to the front, left knee bends. Again, if the knee is high, place a block underneath the thigh. You can use the strap around the foot, holding onto it, nice open heart. Take an inhale and exhale, start to move the chest towards the foot. If you don't have a strap, you can keep your hands on the calf muscle or the ankle or the toes. Remember, shoulders back and chest forward. Tuck the chin to the chest. Hold. Slowly lift. Remove the block. Bring the left knee in, stepping to the right. Left hand behind you. Right elbow, hand around the knee. Hug the knee towards the center line. Inhale, elongate, and then exhale, start to twist. With the shoulders down, roll them down towards the hips. Look back. Come back to center. Twist to the right, just for a second. And then release the left knee towards the floor. Keep the ankle right above the knee on the side. I'm going to just turn around once more. And then bend the right knee. Place the sole of the foot to the ground. Hands behind you. Not collapsing, lengthening. And then you can start to bring the chest closer to the side. Maybe the foot towards the hip. And you're pushing. So with awareness, you're pushing that left knee away from you while you're guiding the chest towards the thigh. If your arms get tired, you can turn around and just lean against the wall. You're going to feel a stretch in the left side, hip, buttock, maybe even in the inner thigh because it externally rotates. So depending on where you're tight. Long spine, shoulders back. And then slowly straighten the right knee, left knee. Give them a little shake. Then we're going to lie down. We are going to take a block with us, or your book. And then we're going to take the block underneath the shoulder blades. So it's going to be across the spine. You can use the flat. If you're working with a block, because obviously it's not going to work with a book. So if you're working with a block, you can use the flat, or you can just mid-side of the block. But make sure that it's going to be right underneath your shoulder blade. So not under the lower back, not under the neck. When you lie back onto the block, you're going to feel the chest open. So wriggle around with it a little bit. And once you lay back, you might find that your head is not touching the floor. Now you have another block or maybe a little pillow, and you can use it under the head. Arms beside you. Or you can bring the arms into a T-shape, cactus arms, even reach back. Notice how the different arm variations going to add something else to the pose, to the chest, to the shoulders. It's also going to exaggerate the arch in the back. We don't want to be in pain. We don't want to feel like it's too much. Remember, it's always not too much, not too little. And then close the eyes and relax. Releasing into the pose, into the floor. If you have the arms reaching back or to the side, bring them beside you. Press down through the elbows, slowly lift yourself up. Remove the blocks and lie on your back. I'm not going to follow you there. I'm just going to sit up. So we're going to come into our final relaxation, Shavasana. Remove all the props. If you need Maybe a block underneath the head if you want the head elevated. Maybe a blanket over you if you feel a little bit cool. Just make sure you're comfortable. And if you have a lot of space around you, you can just spread out like a starfish. Once you're settled, take a big breath through the nose. Hold it in. And then open the mouth, let it all go. And if you haven't done so, close the eyes. Rest. Slowly bring your attention back into the body, back into the breath. You can start to regard the fingers and the toes. Move your hands, feet, roll the head from side to side. Then take a deep breath in, stretch the arms over the head. And then on the exhale, bring the knees into the chest. Roll over to one side. And then very slowly sit yourself up. Comfortable seated pose with your eyes still closed, sitting upright and tall. Bring the hands into prayer. We take one last breath together. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, let it all go. And bring the thumb knuckles to the forehead center. And together we say, Namaste. And we bow. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the class.
Great. Thank you.